Are you a teaching assistant supporting students with special educational needs and disabilities, SEND, and wondering how to make a real difference? Whether you're working one-to-one, in small groups, or helping across the whole class, this video is packed with practical strategies that work in real classrooms. Hello there, fabulous TAs. I'm Lauren Reesner, and I was a TA one-to-one and HLTA for 20 years. I even did 6 weeks of teacher training, but I absolutely hated it. And now I create videos that answer all your TA questions. So if you want to learn more about being a TA, grow in confidence, cope with interviews, and all manner of other TA-related stuff, start right now by subscribing to my channel. And before we start, there is a free PDF that contains everything in this video, so you don't have to take notes. If you want it, just put free PDF please in the comment section below this video. And by the end of this video, you'll feel more confident in your role because we will cover adapting learning using visual aids, behaviour strategies, working with teachers, parents and carers, and boosting student independence. So let's get started. Practical support strategy 1. Understand the student's needs. Before you can support effectively, you need to understand the student's needs. This might come from their EHCP, which is the Education, Health and Care Plan. Used to be called an IEP, Individual Education Plan, might still be called that in your school. Teacher feedback, parent and carer feedback, or observations in class. So here are 3 actionable tips. Read any SEND plans or EHCPs or IEPs available. They're usually kept in an office, in a filing cabinet. That could well be locked because that information is confidential, or you might have an online system now. The second tip is to ask teachers, SENCOs and parents and carers for specific strengths and challenges of the student. And 3, observe and take daily notes on what works and what doesn't. But make sure that if you're making note of particular students, then only use their initials for safeguarding reasons. Don't put their full names in any notes that you're making. Practical support strategy 2, adapt learning without over-supporting. So a common concern for TAs is that you want support without your students becoming too dependent on you. So here are 3 actionable strategies. 1, break instructions into small, manageable steps. 2, use scaffolding techniques. So for instance, sentence starters, word banks, number lines, or any appropriate resource that promotes independence or helps them to actually take part in the activity. And 3, encourage independent thinking. So don't jump in with the answer too quickly. So an example of this is, instead of giving the student the answer, try asking, what do you think might come next? Or let's look back at the question together. And then they don't sort of expect you to come in with the answer. It really does help them to understand that, they're in charge of their own learning. Practical support strategy 3, use multisensory approaches. Many students with SEND process information differently, and a multisensory approach helps with memory and engagement. So here are 3 techniques to try. 1, visual aids. So for the older students, mind maps, diagrams, colour coding. Younger students and older students, images, now next boards, that sort of thing. Auditory learning for number 2, recording key information, using rhymes and songs, recorded instructions and verbal prompts. And 3, kinesthetic activities, so hands-on activities, manipulatives, and movement-based learning. Practical support strategy 4, manage behaviour positively. All behaviour is communication, so understanding triggers and responding proactively is key. Here are 4 practical strategies. 1. Stay calm and consistent. Routine is reassuring. So yes, if you're try not to be one of those people, even if you're like it at home, that's up one day, down the next. Stay consistent and be calm. Use clear, simple language and visual prompts. That really helps with processing information because some children just don't, the auditory processing isn't great. The visual side of it is better and vice versa. 3, offer choices to give students a sense of control. So, with that, you still get the same thing done, but you maybe offer 2 different ways of doing it, or, 2 different types of pencil. Which one would you like to choose? It sort of breaks down the resistance of doing something. Oh, because I'll use that pencil, and then they're sort of off and running. 4, positive reinforcement works wonders. So, for example, instead of saying stop talking, try when you finish writing this sentence, then you can tell me your idea. All right. So that's not telling them not to, to be quiet. It's telling them, oh, I need to concentrate on what I'm doing now, and then I can tell Miss what I want to say. Practical support strategy 5. Collaborate with teachers, parents, and carers. This is important because you are part of a support team, and regular communication with other members of the team is key for your students' success. Here are 3 ways to communicate within the team. 1. Share what's working and any challenges with the teacher. 2, keep the lines of communication open between home and school. You can, maybe first thing in the morning, particularly in primary schools, parents are bringing, or the carers are bringing the child in or picking the child up. Make it a point of yours to actually speak to them, particularly at the beginning of the day, because you can then pick up on any upset that's happened at home that might, have an impact on how the child is in class. 3, regularly liaise with your Senko and other specialists involved with the students you work with. Really important because they will have additional information, additional strategies that you can try. Support strategy 6, encourage independence and confidence. So your goal is to help your students gain confidence and independence over time. And here are 3 ways to do this. 1, teach independence of thought strategies. So, for instance, encourage students to ask themselves what they could try before asking for help. 2, encourage peer support instead of always relying on an adult. So if you can also work out, which other students are good at supporting their fellow students, then you can maybe pair students up, a student with with an SEND, with a student who is, because it doesn't necessarily have to be, a terribly, terribly capable student. It's a student with the right personality, somebody who's calm and patient and wants to help. And 3, use checklists, prompts, and visuals to reinforce their independent strategies. And to help them with this, instead of saying, let me help you, try saying, what strategy do we use when we get stuck? So if you're constantly saying that, gradually they'll start thinking, oh yeah, well, there's that display over there with information. There's my little chart on my desk, that kind of thing. So, there you have it. Some of the most effective ways a teaching assistant can support children with SEND. So, whether it's breaking tasks into manageable steps, using multisensory learning, or fostering independence, small changes can make a big difference in the child's learning journey. And remember, your role is more than support. You are a key part of that child's progress, confidence, and success. Now, here's something you may find surprising. Did you know that around 1 in 7 people in the UK are neurodivergent? That means in every classroom there are likely multiple students who process the world differently, whether it's due to autism, ADHD, dyslexia, or another SEND need. That's why the work you do as a TA is so important, because the right support can unlock a child's true potential. And if you think that a child has got a special need, maybe you think a child is showing autistic traits, or you think a child is showing some traits of ADHD, then just try these strategies. A child doesn't have to be diagnosed, or it doesn't have to be confirmed that they're autistic or they have ADHD. See what works. They might not have autism, they might not have ADHD, but those strategies just what may happen to work with them. So, these strategies aren't just for students with SEND. They could be used for everybody, and I think the classroom would be a happier place. So give it a go. And before you go, check out my other videos on SEND support. Which one will you watch next?